and watched it disappear. It ain't nothing but a review town, broken hearts and rusted plows, roots ripped right up out of the ground. Never thought I'd ever leave it, but it ain't nothing what it used to be. Population minus me on the other side of that dust cloud. Ain't nothing but a review town. I could tough it out, but what's the use? A place that small, it's hard to do. Too much of her to run into, and so much road to somewhere new. It ain't nothing but a review town, broken hearts and rusted plows, roots ripped right up out of the ground. Never thought I'd ever leave it, but it ain't nothing what it used to be. Population minus me on the other side of that dust cloud. Ain't nothing but a review town. It ain't nothing but a yesterday, one less truck rolling down Main. Ain't nothing left to say. No, it ain't nothing what it used to be. Population minus me on the other side of that dust cloud. Ain't nothing but a review town. Ain't nothing but a review town.
Hi, folks. Welcome to It Matters Radio and Walking on the Weene Side. And today I have a very, very special dear guest with me. Her name is Monica Brinkman, and you probably recognize her because, of course, Monica is the host of It Matters Radio, and she does all the technical work. But Monica today is my interviewee because we're going to be talking about her experience in the recent past. For those of you who don't know, Monica was, I guess still technically is, a resident of a place called Paradise, California. And if that name rings a bell, it's because Paradise kind of burned to the ground, pretty much. I guess there are a few buildings and a few homes left, but for the most part, it burned to the ground. And Monica, you became, I guess, a refugee. Or technically, I guess you have to be in another country to be a refugee, so a displaced person.
An evacuee?
Evacuee, yeah. What was that like?
Well, I tell you, it was totally unexpected. It was like any other day, Ken, and I was in the studio working on shows and such. My husband called me, and he said that he heard there was a fire. Well, we hadn't heard anything, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm seeing smoke in the distance, but it hadn't come near us. So he said he was going to check out where his driver was and such because they're evacuating people, and he wanted him to pick me up. And that didn't happen because in the interim, the fire had gotten so bad that it actually engulfed his vehicle. He had fire coming on both sides, and he was running for his life, so he wasn't rescuing anybody.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let Rich through to come save me. So there was no way to come get me, and I was by myself with my animals without any form of transportation.
Wow.
So I called the sheriff's department, and they said, don't worry about it. It's not hitting Magalia, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm telling you, 15 minutes later, all the lights go out. They finally shut the electricity off. And I'm going, okay, there's something going on. I look out the window. The sprinkler systems are going off on the houses. I see smoke, and I go, okay, Monica, something's going on. I don't care what they're telling you. So I went outside, and I thought, well, I'll see what the neighbors are doing. My next door neighbor took off. I saw them leave, and I went down the street, a couple neighbors down, because there were people outside, and I approached these two young men, and I said, what's going on? Do I need to evacuate? And they would not even respond to me. They jumped in their car and took off.
Wow.
So I went to a couple, and I asked them what was going on. I go, look, I'm by myself. Do I need to start walking? What? And they wouldn't acknowledge me. So the only thing I said to them was, folks, if this was the other way around, I'd be helping you. So I said, okay, Monica, you got to do something, because you're not going to stay here and burn. Everybody's leaving. So I got my dogs together, and I tried to get all the cats. I got 2 of them, but my stubby cat I could not get. And I begged him. I tried everything I could, and to this day, I don't know if he's alive or dead. And, what had really irritated me was I'm ready to walk. So all I grabbed were the animals, a few of Rich's shirts and things I knew I could carry if I was walking. And I go outside, and my neighbor from across the street was actually coming my way, coming to check on me.
Oh.
At the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I told him, look, I've got all these animals. He goes, I love animals. Don't worry about it. My girlfriend's here. She's got a car. We'll get you to your husband.
Oh,
so this young couple, where all these people who were my age and such would not help, this young couple saved basically my animals in my life. So yeah. That's what that part was like. Mm-hmm. And
I have to interrupt you because for a second, Monica, just to ask before you go on with the story, are those neighbors still? I'm not asking around in the sense of alive. Are they around where you see them and have interaction with them?
Well, because we're so far away from them right now, where we're staying temporary, we don't see them. But Rich did go back there. And he knocked on the door to thank them, of course, for saving our lives and such. And their house made it.
Oh, good.
I absolutely know that because our driveways go down, slope down. And this type of fire, it was more of a brush fire than a tree fire.
Yeah.
It was more on the ground. That's what was so hard about it. They didn't know where it was going to go because the wind was changing its direction. They contained it where we were because we're downhill. What a better place to contain a fire. So all the houses that are downhill. Yeah. But, Ken, I would do it again to save all those houses, the neighbors. Mm-hmm. Because what can you do? I'm more upset about my stubby cat. I tried to get back in the house to get them, and I couldn't find my keys. They were in my hand. And I think I must have dropped them when I was putting stuff in the car, because I did have one little bag of stuff. So I don't know. I still haven't forgiven myself for that yet, and I'm working on it. It was probably my hardest thing about it all.
Folks, in case you aren't aware, Monica Brinkman may be the most deeply in love with animals of any person I've ever met. I thought I was an animal lover until I met him.
Well, Stubby is just so scared of everybody. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. But he didn't deserve to die, and I feel like I killed him. And I know I had to make choices, but you still have that within you.
I understand.
And folks, forgive me for getting emotional about him. but that is the one thing I do. We actually stayed in our vehicle. We got reunited, Rich and I, thank God. The people were nice enough to take me to where he worked, and he was there, and so we stayed there that night, and we had no idea what we were going to do, Ken. I mean, there was no room at the inn. You know, there was nothing for anybody. People had taken everything.
Yes.
You're looking at over 14,000 homes being destroyed, so the people who got out later, they were either just sleeping in their cars or trying to find friends to stay with. But we were fortunate enough that where Richard works, they are amazing. Mm-hmm. They offered us a place to stay, and we'll talk about that. But I want people to know, though, I feel fortunate. You would not believe what these people went through. Can you imagine that everybody's telling you everything's okay, and the next thing you know, there's a fireball coming your way. It's surrounding your car. It's setting everything. You're running through the fire, trying to get out of this. You're finally ditching the car. This is what a lot of people went through. Ditching the car and just running for help, jumping in the back of pickups and such, just to get away from the fire. It was just terrible.
I can't imagine the terror.
Yeah, and it just happened too fast.
Well,
most
that's the nature of a wildfire.
We'll be here in 10 minutes, a half hour. This one, no, it was there as soon as it happened.
Well, of course, partly because everybody was so sure they knew what they were doing. Like the sheriff says to you when you call, instead of saying, well, ma'am, I don't know, and yeah, probably a good idea if you got out of there. He says, oh, no, you're fine. And he doesn't know.
Well, and that irritated me, Ken, only because the fact I told them I'm here by myself. I need to be walking. So I need to get a start if this thing's heading. And they acted like I was bothering them with something trivial. Mm-hmm. Yes, they did have more important things to deal with because there were active fires and there were people getting burned and even dying over this.
Yeah, but maybe you should put somebody on the phone so that,
Yeah. It's funny, you never know how you're going to react to something. And I didn't panic at all. I just said, well, you got to do what you have to do.
Which is really an amazing...
The harder part came afterwards, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I felt like I lost myself, if you can understand that. Because every award I had gotten for acting or for a job well done, every picture I had of any accomplishments with, famous people, all kinds of, any memories of who I was, be it my manuscripts, be it my acting, singing, whatever, was completely gone. I had nothing. Yeah, and it was like, I'm gone. My whole past is completely gone. And there's no way to bring it back. That was the hardest part, I think.
That's really, it strikes me as being something, especially, as I get older. I don't have many things that I treasure because they tie me to my life, but I have a few. And, to think about if they all disappeared, the sense of being unmoored, if you will, being adrift, would just be overwhelming.
And things like Carrie, our co-host who passed, in January, last January, I should say, a year from now. There were things that she had given me over the years, and I can't replace them. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, her book. I had the only copy of her book, who I was going to give to one of her dear friends. And I don't have it now, and you can't purchase it. It's things like that. that really affect you. And I guess Rich and I just kind of clung to each other, you know.
Well, I think it would either make your marriage a heck of a lot stronger or totally blow it apart. And obviously, from all our interactions since, it's been making the two of you closer and making it stronger, which is one good
Because you
thing.
have that choice whether to let your memories and things be more important than who you are today. And you just can't do that.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break here, and for a very specific reason, because we're going to have our producer, who is Monica Brinkman, insert here one of the promo trailers for one of her books. Because I know at this point you're saying to yourself, well, what could I do to help Monica? And one of the things we can do is
Buy my book.
Buy her books. So, Monica, I'm telling you right now, when you put this show together, that's what goes in this spot, okay? And we'll be
Thank
right
you,
back.
I appreciate it.
Welcome back, folks, to Walking on the Weene Side, part of It Matters Radio. And Monica Brinkman, who is our producer and the senior host of It Matters Radio, is my guest today. And we've been talking about the Campfire, I believe it was called, which funny. I mean, I always have these wonderful notions of campfires. I mean, toasting marshmallows and things. Oh, not this one.
What's interesting about that is it has nothing to do with a campfire. A lot of people think it does.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was a street where it started. Was camp.
The name of the street.
So it's the campfire.
Yeah, that's
One of the
typically how
that happened.
that's typically how fires get named, is by specific location that they start at, because, or where they're first detected, because that's the way that the calls go out,
Mhm.
and then they just keep that.
Right.
But-
a car caught on fire, so that's the car fire. It's crazy.
Yeah, but of course but it's ironic to be called the campfire. So this fire, we have a pretty good idea of what caused it. Why don't we talk a little about that?
Yeah, there's different ideas of how it was caused, but we know a transformer was affected. And we know that a call was made to the electric company to tell them there was a problem. We know they went out there. What we also know, and to me is the most important thing to know, is electricity was not turned off.
Not until the lights went out.
For
Well,
hours.
yeah.
I mean, I'm on the phone with Rich.
Yeah.
And for hours, they're sending us all these notices that when the winds get high, which they were, that they'd be turning off the electricity. So we were expecting this with the high winds, but it never happened. So we thought we're safe. They know what they're doing. Well, obviously not, because the fire's full blaze and I'm on the phone with Rich talking.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until hours later that it was cut off. And I don't know who made that decision, but they have to live with that the rest of their lives.
So you
And that's,
think
I wouldn't want that.
You think it was an electrical started fire, or do you think that it started and they maybe should have turned the electricity off because it made it worse? Or what do you think happened?
No, it absolutely started from an electrical site.
Oh, it did. Okay.
On the poles that they had there.
Okay.
PG&E was beginning to clean the brush, which is their job to do.
Right.
They hadn't been doing
maintaining
it.
the
People
right of way.
yelled.
Mhm.
Yeah, people yelled so much that they finally started doing it, but they didn't have enough people out there to do it, to take care of it. In fact, I remember sitting on my deck looking, far, but right behind my fence in the back, and I go, Rich, if there's a fire that hits, we're going to get it. Look at all this brush. They're supposed to be taking care of this. Now, this is my homeowners association that's supposed to be taking care of that.
Mm-hmm.
They never did it.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of it, you have PG&E who didn't come out and cut branches away from wires or take care of the brush. So you've got all that going on. We were just waiting to happen. We were fortunate it hadn't happened before. So now that it did, yes, they're taking care of all that. They're making plans, which is a good thing, but it isn't helping any of the people who lost everything in their lives.
They're taking care of the remaining brush. What didn't burn. That's good. Whoopee.
Yeah. So I got to say that Trump was right in a way that you do need to keep the brush down, but it's not going to stop a fire. If the fire starts.
One of the things that is really fascinating to me is, as you know, because you met her on It Matters Radio, I'm good friends with a Native American from California, Deb Kroll. Deb has been on the show. And, she told me a lot of the history of California and the Native Americans. And when the Euro-Americans arrived in California, the thing that blew their minds was that it looked like such a beautifully maintained park. See, we do things in the Euro culture very differently from the Native American culture. In the Native American culture, they did not raise animals. They did not domesticate animals. Now, of course, we think, the Navajo have sheep and stuff. But back then, they didn't raise animals. Instead, they hunted. They had agriculture, and they hunted. And, of course, forage, too. And so access to the forest to hunt was very important. And the forests were actually beautifully maintained. We, with our emphasis on raising livestock, besides despoiling the grasslands, as we have really stopped paying attention to the forests and
You're right.
to maintaining. And we do something even worse because we go through and we cut trees in order to get the wood, and that leaves a place that for brush to grow and saplings to grow, and we're not then coming back and clearing that and maintaining that. So instead of beautiful,
And it should be done.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be us. We're paying, you have to pay homeowners dues and such.
Right.
We're paying them to take care of this stuff, and it hadn't been done in all the time I was there.
Well, yeah, and of course
year and a half I was there.
Yeah,
so
well,
I think people have learned a lot.
Do I think they've learned? No, not really. I don't think people learn. I think that when you're very fortunate, whether it's a homeowners or any organization, when you're very fortunate, you get some very good people taking on the job and doing really, maybe they make mistakes, but they do the best they're capable of. But most of the time, what you get is people who are really not interested in the job, they're interested in the honorifics. They don't care what legislation they pass, they care about being called governor, senator, whatever. And sadly,
The prestige.
Yeah,
versus the actual job.
Yeah, prestige and also their access to the goodies, of course, matter.
All the perks.
Yeah, you very seldom find a politician living in a house that hasn't had the brush cleared around it. It's the rest of us who have to put up with it. And you're right. So I don't believe we learn. I think we're only going to learn when we as a society learn to choose leadership differently.
Yes. The priorities need to be changed in some areas. But on the other hand, the government took a lot of money away from maintaining the forests.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's part of the leadership.
So that was one of the problems also. They didn't have the funding. The government decided, no, you don't need that. Then after it happens, they come around and go, oh, well, you didn't do it.
Yeah, well,
you didn't cut the brush down. Well, you took our money away.
There are much more important things like building a wall to keep nobody out, or building more planes to give to Afghanistan, or whatever. This country, our forests and land management, let me just say, to me, water and forest and land management are just as crucial a part of infrastructure as railroads and roads and bridges and aquifers and sewage plants. Oh my gosh, we don't maintain any of them either, do we?
No. And there's going to be more disasters happening because of this. Different types of disasters, not necessarily a fire. I mean, we have even seen people going on a bridge and all of a sudden the bridge collapses because it wasn't maintained. That has happened.
Yeah.
You would think that would wake someone up, but it hasn't.
No. Well, yes, it does. It woke them up, and they sent out a bunch of low-level engineers who wrote reports, and the reports got buried someplace, and yada yada yada. So now you're living in a spot. We had while we've been talking. I don't know if he's gone yet, but Rich has been getting ready to go to work behind you.
Yeah, it's really early here.
Yeah, and we're going to.
And I'm sorry for how it looks in the back of me.
No, not at all. We're going to talk a little about that when we come back. But first, we're going to take a little break. And you know what, Monica? I think you have another book trailer, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So folks, just remember, her name is Monica Brinkman. You can go on Amazon and find her books, and I think you can also buy a Nook copy of them through Barnes and Noble. And you can get them on Kindle and all kinds of good things. And all you have to do is remember the titles and her name. And now let's watch another of Monica's wonderful books for the trailer for it. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back, folks, to Walking on the Weene Side, Out of It Matters Radio. Monica, let's talk a little bit. You know, while we've been doing this interview, we've seen Rich in the background getting ready to go to work. And ordinarily, you know, before this, we wouldn't have seen that because you would have had your own little room and he would have been in someplace else. Right now, tell us a little about how you guys are living and how you ended up there. You had said...
Well, I kind of kept everything. I haven't made the bed yet because it's so early and things, but you can see this is one room. And it's actually an old milk barn. It has steel walls, doors and such. And this is basically where the studio is, where we sleep, where we watch TV. I also have 4 animals with us, which is interesting. Animals that are used to, well, 2 of them, the dogs used to running free in the yard, are now, you know, having to stay in the house for the most part, because there's no fencing and such for them. It's been interesting. We do have one room that's a closet that the owners of the property were so sweet. They put in a oven for me and a little teeny sink. so I can cook. But that's about what we have. We have that place. There's no toiletries. There's no bathrooms or anything here.
You have to go outside.
The yeah, you need to walk quite a little ways to get to the shower and to the washroom. But we were also fortunate enough to be able to put in a washer and dryer there so we can do our laundry.
Oh, you put it in over at the washroom.
Over, yeah, because they had hookups for
So
it there.
you still have to carry, but at least there's a place where you can actually do
Right,
it.
I have to carry it, and with this weather lately, it's been raining and crazy.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you though, Ken, I have become so humble and so understanding of what people go through that I had no idea before. I always thought, oh yeah, that's bad. Look at the poor people. It's terrible what's happened to them. It's not just terrible. It is life-changing. It is devastating. It makes you rethink many, many things in your life also. And I'm just thankful that I have someone like Rich, who he could have gone either way. He could have just said, heck with this, I'm going back to Missouri with my family. I can't take it anymore. But no, he chose to embrace me and just fight through this.
Wow.
So we can hopefully get back on our feet again.
I hope so. The people who are providing you with this milk bond, they're co-workers with Rich?
Yes, I have to give Meeks Lumber a shout out.
Oh,
I have never in my life had so many people give from their heart so much, and they continue to do it. I mean, bringing in things like you don't even think about, rice. Foods. We had no clothing. We had no shoes, no socks, no underwear. I mean, we had nothing. And these people came in and they, here's a gift certificate to go get yourself some shoes, or to go get yourself a temporary computer until I could get, like this one. And starting out, you fund me so we would be able to buy groceries and have gas for the car and things like that. It's amazing. And I never knew how many wonderful friends I had. I thought I had a few friends, and the rest I don't know. Are they, I found out, not just myself, but you also, Ken, we have so many wonderful friends who support us. And not just the show. It wasn't just for them to, get fame on the show or anything. When it came down to something happening to one of us, they were there.
Yeah. Good and decent, caring people in the world. And like the people across the street from you who came, but and the people at Meeks and the people. There are a lot of good people in this world, and we have to celebrate
it's so hard
that.
for me to take. Though, Ken, I'm always a person that gave. I didn't take. And one of the hardest things in my life has always been to take, be it a compliment or anything. So I'm really thinking I learned a lot during this experience. I learned how to be humble, how to be able to take something, be it a compliment, be it $5, whatever, from someone, and not feel guilty about it. That was a huge one.
I'm glad that you have learned to accept the love of others and their concern for you and all. I just wish you hadn't had to go through so much difficulty in order to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
So,
but you find out what matters in life when something like that happens. It certainly wasn't the material things. Grab the animals, that's what mattered.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I'm sure the animals are grateful.
Yeah. I know, when you think about what really matters in life, what really does matter, It's you've learned an important lesson. So I'm wondering, I know that you were working on a book, and of course, that the manuscript.
I actually had 3 of them going, Ken.
Okay, all of that computer memory is burned. Manuscript, all that paper is burned. So it's.
Maybe I was supposed to write those.
Yeah. Now you have a new computer, and you're ready to start writing again, I hope.
Yes.
So I'm curious. Do you think you'll go back to one of those stories, or do you think you'll write a new one, or do you think next thing is going to be less about fiction, maybe more memoir, as you deal with and write about what you've learned and what this fire has meant, not just to you, but to all the people that you can come up with. It seems to me there's a lot there for the rest of us to learn from.
I think so too, and I had thought about that. And my problem is I had to get over the emotional part of it all. Ken, I was crying every day. The stupidest things.
Well, Monica, I have to tell you, every time I thought about you, I was crying. So I could certainly
understand. You think about, I didn't have a spatula. It would bring me to tears because I had 4 of them. You know what I mean? It's stupid stuff like that. Or, something that reminded me of my stubby cat, who I'm still looking for. He might be out there yet. You never know. And, writing. At first, I had no passion for anything. I have to tell you that, Kenneth. It was like I was void inside. And trying to get that passion back was a problem, but I started drawing, sketching, and that helped a lot. Taking walks helped a lot because you got to get all that stuff out. And I think I'm at a place now where I'm ready to start writing. Just what? I'm not sure yet. But it'll have some meaning to it, I'll let you know that. I just want everybody to stop with all this nonsense every day. This is one thing that it did with me. Let's start loving each other. Stop with this ridiculous nonsense of hating each other, harming each other, not working with each other. Quit worrying about how rich you can get and how many material things you can get, because it could be gone in an instant. And then what are you going to have? You're going to have how you treated people. How many people are there for you? Were they there just for your riches and your money? Or were they there because you were a good person? It means a lot.
That's a wonderful question for us all to be asking ourselves. What really does matter? How do we matter? How do we make our lives matter? Monica,
right.
We're going to be coming back, I hope, for more interviews and updates with you.
Yes.
More discussion about the issues, the emotional issues, not just some. I mean, obviously there are some political and economic and governmental and issues. We could talk on endlessly about PG&E's proposed bankruptcy and how, things like that. And all those things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about.
But I think one of the things that you've made very clear today is that as important as all of those topics may be, the one that is most important, most crucial, is how we as people interact with one another, with our world, the things that matter. And it's not just the number of spatulas we have, but the number of lives we touch.
Right. You're so right, Ken. Okay.
Now, Monica, thank you so much for taking time to walk on the Weene Side, and also for doing everything you do in terms of It Matters Radio.
Much love to you, Ken, and thank you. And we'll talk more about it in the future, okay? So
Very
stay
good.
tuned, folks. Bye-bye, Ken.
Bye-bye.